Twilight's Nightmare, Chapter 28, Part 5. Luna's wings blocked Celestia's view of Candace.
That's enough of that, dear sister. As you wish. Lieutenant Candace, do you wish to forsake your oath?
Celestia said, her voice still warm and calm.
I wouldn't be forsaking my oath to serve Equestria. I would just be changing the parameters in which I fulfill it. That would require being released from my current one so that it can be subsequently taken again with new parameters.
Celestia nodded once, letting Candace see a hint of respect.
So be it.
She flicked her eyes to Luna for a moment. Celestia was annoyed at her sister taking Candace, but still, she could respect Candace's integrity, if not her taste in desiring her sister. Luna lowered her wings, allowing Celestia to do what was required. Celestia could see that her sister was ready to raise them again in an instant if she tried anything. Revoking the oath was easy. It was just a little harder not to slay the pony in the process. She made sure that she could do so in plenty of time for Cadence and Shining Armor's wedding. She wrapped a small piece of her own power concealed within Candace with her will, and separated it from her power guard's wellspring, and then she pulled upon it. A small mote of golden magic emerged from Candace and darted around Luna's wings. It then returned to Celestia. Candace was tracking the orb with interest as it moved. Celestia noticed the muscles in her jaw twitch, and she inhaled a shallow breath and could see that Candace wanted to ask something, but it held her tongue.
You are free to walk your own path again. May you choose wisely,
Celestia said solemnly. Candace bowed her head.
Thank you, Princess Celestia. I honestly feel I am choosing the right path. Whether or not the path is wise might only be a matter of perspective.
Celestia gave Luna a meaningful look. Luna said in a formal tone,
Candace, please take care of your affairs. Perform any tasks that you deem necessary to reduce the disruption of your departure from RGIS.
Luna then leaned closer, speaking directly into Candace's ear.
Make sure to update your will and be ready for an hour before moonrise,
Luna said, using a sadistic whisper. Candace nodded and immediately started towards the door. Her eyes lit up with interest. Celestia very nearly directed her mask to let her eyes roll. She never liked the games Luna enjoyed playing with her toys. It seemed Candace might actually enjoy some of them instead of ending up dying of terror. As soon as the door was closed, Celestia warded it against sound.
Do you even know who he was?
Celestia asked, looking at the stallion again, letting the invisibility fade from him. Luna reached into her mane and passed Celestia a file. Celestia shook her head at the words along the top of it. It read, RGIS document do not remove from the main office. Luna never cared for or followed any rules. For a moment, Celestia considered how nice it would be to just throw all the laws off the top of the mountain and simply rule with an iron hoof. Force the stupid, short-sighted ponies to do what was best for them. If it were not for her mask, she would have sighed. No, she could not and would not do that. They needed at least their illusion of choice, the feeling that their lives truly mattered to the universe, even though so few of them actually did. Again, she considered the amount of happiness the average pony had just because of the things that they did not know, the things that Celestia deliberately kept them from ever finding out.
Good day, sister. If you find you need more, the rest of the prisoners are in the dungeon, Luna
said, and Celestia nodded to her sister.
Thank you, and thank you again for helping with Twilight.
Luna just met her eyes and faded into the shadows.
One of these days I will teach her how to use doors.
Celestia sighed. She might not be able to restore the stallion before her, but she could give a little filly and colt their father back, give a mare her husband back. A warm smile crossed her muzzle. She could do that much at least. She would need to summon his family and use their memories of him to recreate a mind. Since Daybreaker had not raised an issue, it was well within her allowable magic budget for the week. Even with everything bad going on, she could still make her ponies' lives better. She regarded the now whole teacup, the veins of gold running through it somehow making the whole thing just seem that bit more beautiful. The scars of metal added character, telling a story. She added the cup to her normal tea service, wondering who, if any pony, would dare to comment on it. Even if they didn't, they would wonder. She would get to enjoy the crazy ideas that they came up with, even if they never voiced them. Upon a scroll, she noted all the spells and orders Dark Acolyte had. Once done, she flared her magic, deleting him from existence. She left an empty mind, a perfect blank canvas for her to ply her skills, recreating the beloved father. Noble's Delight. Noble Guide was paradoxically both in a good mood and in a bad mood. The good news was that the most capable analyst in the RGIS was now out. She apparently now was little more than a plaything for Luna. The bad news was that the nobles he was trying to manipulate had dragged him along into their impromptu celebration of getting that abomination out of Celestia's Solar Guard. At least he managed to direct them to a place where there would not be ponies to tell tales about him being here. With his contacts with the papers, he could control any rumors that the press tried to capitalize on. He was playing with the idea about if he should try and sabotage the approval process for the wedding between Twilight and Luna, or if he should help them. If he hindered them, then he could turn public opinion against them and cause lots of minor hassles for all the princesses to deal with. Yet if he helped them, he could get them both out of the way for at least a month, and that could be a golden opportunity. If there were a way that he could make it seem like Celestia was delaying things, he would. He had heard about the shouting match that happened in Ponyville, even if none of the papers dared to publish anything about it. It only took one printing press being reduced to slag to convince the rest of the press to not go anywhere near that story. Twilight was still an unknown. She had not done anything to demonstrate the full extent of her blood magic. If he couldn't turn her against Celestia, then it would be safer to keep a master of forbidden magic as far away as possible during the final moments of his plan. Blueblood said something dumb. Of course he did. That sniveling brat of a noble only thought he had power. The only thing that he actually had was a now nearly pointless title hoofed down to him because he happened to be a direct relative of Princess Platinum. Oh, how he wished that he could clean up some of the nobility, but alas, their corruption and distraction were far too useful to his plans. Another noble raised his glass to Noble Guide. He idly clinked it as the said noble mentioned satisfaction in getting the hybrid out, but lamented that he didn't manage to get the demands to have her wings removed though. He would have rather studied her. Sure, her wings may have been removed in the process, but it would have been for the benefit of knowledge, not just the mutilation for the sake of humiliating the poor mare. He couldn't fathom why Celestia kept these useless ponies around, let alone in power. It must be some sort of trick, some kind of trap for the worst sorts. The only other alternative was that she was simply lazy, and you wouldn't have total control of a country for over 1,000 years by being lazy. They are ruled by an alicorn, the most perfect of hybrids. Yet they seem to have no problem conveniently forgetting that fact when wanting to torment all hybrids, at the least of the lesser ponies. He could only imagine what the nobility would think or do if she managed to get a position of actual power over them. Probably assassination attempts, or even open rebellion. Maybe I should arrange her for the distraction. I need to keep an eye out for the opportunity. One of the other nobility was sucking up to Blueblood. It was almost sickening. This Jet Set and his wife Upper Crust were two of the main ponies that were so against any power for anyone that wasn't a unicorn. They at least had the sense to not let their beliefs be known to the public. If I succeed in my plans, then you two are going to be some of the first ones to go. Consideration of that helped him make up his mind about whether to help Twilight Luna. It would be too much of an advantage to have her out of the picture for a month. The fact that it would help him identify what nobles to discard after he took power was also a benefit. After a few hours of letting this celebration ramble on, Noble Guide excused himself. He needed to plan more. He said his lines just as he would if he were an actor on stage, then excused himself back to his home. They're deliberate plans, but we'll see if they actually work. Now let's get on to our very generous donators. Top donators TacoCat598, Peter Coulthard, J10 Man, Darkside, Gauntlet, and Only One Thing, Zar630, Strix, Raiden, Narwhals, Black Moonheart, Drake Love Dragon, Pastel Skies, Austin Roland, Crazy Killer 557, Stu Hex, Will, James Burner, Dospo, Delta Omega, Jack Hedge, RuneScythe9852, Leslie Prickett, Hunter Norman, Stephen Bingham, Linega12, and many more fantastic people. Thank you all so much for watching this video and live life to the fullest.